Hey guys, welcome back to the Great Ace 32. Let's carry on where we left off. We're dealing with the aftermath of Kazuma's unmasking, and it looks like we've got two more Nipponese in town. It's, of course, Judge Seishiro and Professor Mikatoba, having traveled all the way from the land of the rising sun to pay a visit to the symposium that's being held by Lord Strongheart, who has great ambitions despite the fact that we kneecapped him after putting away Dr. Scythe. In any case, we're trying to figure out what to do this fine day. I'm sure we'll find some information about what we need to do, such as going to Sholmes' suite, where we're not sure if we asked everything we needed to. So let's pay it a visit. Sholmes, howdy. Perhaps I need to examine. I'm quite curious about this mask on the trunk in the middle of the room. The mask Kazuma wore when he was assigned to Lord Van Zeeks as his apprentice. When he cast it aside after the trial the other day, I just sort of picked it up. Oh, it's my fault it's there. Sorry, my bad. I take it back, Sholmes. We'll have to give it back to him, I suppose. But he has his memory back now, doesn't he? And I kind of have a feeling he might turn around and tell me coldly to wear it myself. Well, I did hand him his soul back, so hopefully it's not too cold. But isn't he your best friend? Yeah, well, a few months have passed. You might think I left him for dead, if I'm being honest. And I took his place, so there's that. Iris, I don't suppose you're hanging around somewhere? Let's look around fully. Nope, she is not. So, what haven't we asked? Perhaps we need something else in our inventory before moving on, because I've certainly conversed with Sholmes enough. Okay, I'll be back. I'll see if I can figure out something. Ah, of course, it's the inconspicuous newspaper in the middle of the room. This looks like last week's edition. What's that article circled in red ink there? It's in an advertisement column. It says, "To the Red-Headed League." The Red-Headed League? What's that? I don't know. I've never heard of it before, but I think he might be a part of it. There's something on my face. Clearly this has something to do with that. Lively hair. The Red-Headed League article has been entered into the court record. Okay. Probably should have read about what it was first. Let's take a look. An advertisement from the newspaper that's entitled "To the Red-Headed League." It seems somewhat suspicious in nature. To the Red-Headed League, on account of the bequest of the late Ezekiah Hopkins of Lebanon, PA, USA, there is now another vacancy open which entitles a member of the League to a salary of £4 a week for purely nominal services. All red-headed men who are sound in body and mind and above the age of 21 years are eligible. Apply in person on the morning of the 31st at the large park on Lime Street. Get £4 per week if you are a redhead. A most fantastic money-making opportunity. And ironically, the only thing red on this paper is the circle around the article. Okay, let's present this to Sholmes and figure out what he's going about doing. Present. It looks as though someone circled an advertisement in this paper, Mr. Sholmes. To the Red-Headed League. Does that strike you in some way? I was thinking that just maybe it might be related. It's the thin thread, I think, but I'm going to pull on it. To your bright red hair. So, at last you've learnt to apply my methods, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry, what? I didn't have to dance to figure that out. It's burning in my eyes. In the first instance, and quite indispensable, observation. Believe me, I could have seen that hair with my eyes shut. So then, allow me to regale you with the details of my latest exploits. Regale, or boast. Well, do go on. The Red-Headed League. So what is the Red-Headed League, which seems to be the subject of the advertisement you've circled? You've noticed it in the paper, then? Yes, I did. That's why I've shoved it in your face. Just like your hair is shoved in mine. That, my dear fellow, was going to be the source of this month's rent payment. It was? How? According to the advertisement, the Red-Headed League is a distinguished institution of fellows of unspecified governance. In fact, the only condition for becoming a member is having red hair. That doesn't entirely surprise me. They might know that you're not exactly a natural-born one, though. Something tells me about the hue of your hair.
But listen to what the lucky redheads receive once they join. An unconditional salary of £4 a week. Oh my, £4 a week?
But why? What are they paying people for? That I don't know. No details are given in the advertisement.
But surely every red-headed person in the country would be flocking to join in that case.
Well, it's my understanding only one red-headed person gets the salary of sorts.
You're right, Susie. There's no time to lose. I'll put in my application at once.
Unfortunately, you're not over 21. Or a guy, apparently. That's the... I don't write the requirements.
So will I. Just on the off chance.
That might be stretching a point, I think.
The trouble is, they have a fixed number of members, you see.
Oh, I see. So once a certain number of people have joined, no one else can. But as luck would have it, one member recently passed away. Hope it wasn't a murder.
It wasn't particularly lucky for the redhead in question, I feel, Mr. Sholmes.
So you decided to try to join in his place? Correct. I mean, look at me. Have you ever seen such a red-headed fellow? No, I have not. No. So why? Why did it have to go so wrong? What? What on earth happened? A blunder, Mr. Naruhodo, though it pains me to admit it. You blundered at chess? Or what? Your blunder.
What did you actually do to your hair, Mr. Sholmes?
I'm glad you asked, Miss Susato. What you see atop my head is neither dyed nor a headpiece. It's actually covered in blood. I took it from a Yakuza game. I changed the color of my hair overnight. By the wonders of chemistry. Chemistry? I was conducting some research into a method of rejuvenating spent tea leaves. And in the course of my work, I stumbled upon a potion that, when taken, turns one's hair aflame like red. Would you like to try it? It will make every hair on your body perfectly crimson. I think I'll pause. That's not exactly crimson. That is fire red.
But Mr. Sholmes, is it quite safe to drink? Surely it's bad for you, isn't it?
Amateurs are always hampered by such fears.
Oh, I should never have doubted you, Mr. Sholmes. You mean to say...
But of course. To earn £4 per week, one must be prepared to turn a blind eye to a little danger. That degree of red signals more than just a little danger, surely.
So anyway, Hurley left full of confidence yesterday, with his new red hair. For the park on Lime Street where the Red-Headed League were interviewing prospective new members.
So what went wrong? The whole park was choked with red-headed folk, like Acosta's orange barrow. I queued for 8 hours solid before at last I reached the front. But when the panel of interviewers saw me, they immediately said, "What the fuck? Mr. Herlock Sholmes, are you in disguise to conduct an investigation?" So naturally, I had no choice but to reply, "Shh, don't give me away." And then you slunk away with your tail between your legs, huh? After which I could do little else but turn and leave. Then this morning, when I looked in the mirror, irritation stirred within me. So I turned that pair into the police. What? What pair? Oh, the pair that was just here, sorry.
Oh dear, what a disaster! For Hurley and those two redheads.
Sounds like it. Ding-a-ling-a-ling. Ding-a-ling-a-ling. I've never heard that to describe anything else other than what you think I'm talking about. Aha! Here's my guest now. My latest client, with money to spend.
Oh, I do hope it's an exciting case, Hurley.
Remember, Iris, we are at present gripped by the greatest problem known to man. I must be willing to accept any case, no matter how unstimulating. Save locating a runaway, of course. Don't spare anyone's feelings, will you?
Oh dear. I'm afraid that Hurley can lack a little tact, especially just before rent is due.
Whoa.
Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, please, oh please.
Juror number 2. Lovely to see you.
Please find my husband. He's run away.
Well. To upset me.
I beg your pardon?
Never mind. A personal matter. My apologies. What exactly are you trying to say, Mr. Naruhodo? I didn't say a word! Come, my dear madam. Be seated. Iris, some tea, if you please.
Of course.
Yeah. Let's get out of here, shall we? What's the matter, Miss Susato?
Oh, it's just that gentlewoman. I feel sure I've seen her somewhere before. Very recently.
Yes, now you come to mention it. At least I recognize her.
As I explained earlier, my name is Evie Vigil. I implore you to take the case, sir. Money is no object. Simply name your figure.
A year's rent would be handy. Money and wealth are of little consequence to me, madam. Being offered a case to solve is reward enough.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you are the picture of benevolence.
I will of course make a mental note of your offer, however, for contingent reasons. I trust you will remember your words also.
If I might inquire, sir, just name your price, please.
Oh,
This gentleman and lady would be...
oh, me?
What I am about to tell you, I should like to communicate in the strictest confidence, you understand.
Ah, these are my friends. Thank you, Sholmes, for at least considering me a friend. I assure you, you may say before this pair anything which you may say to me.
I see. I would really like to talk in private, though. That's what I feel like. Whenever someone says, oh, whatever you can say to me, you can say in front of them, I'm like, no. I want to talk to just you, okay? I can vouch for the gentleman personally. After all, he's hard of hearing. I don't speak English good. Why did I ever get my hopes up? I mean, I wish she kind of should at least recognize me. From court a week ago. It's only been a week. Hey, look at my armband, damn it. Look. Mrs. Vigil, would you mind casting your eyes over this? Oh, my poor Daly. Where have you gone? What's become of you? I'm afraid she's too worried about her husband to pay any attention, Mr. Naruhodo.
Either that, or she just doesn't want to be bothered with me. You're gonna have to speak up. I'm apparently hard of hearing. Mrs. Vigil. Forgive me for asking, Mrs. Vigil, but have we met somewhere before? Quite recently, perhaps.
Oh my!
Psh, my dear fellow, what is your intention? Clearly you have no ability to differentiate the facial features of the English. Excuse you? If you wish to invite the lady to tea, you must do so in a more gentlemanly fashion.
Is it possible that you're the nice young lawyer from the trial I attended last week?
That's me, yes. Hi. Hello. Ah, I knew I recognized her.
To have a man's fate in the palm of one's hand. Oh gosh, oh golly. It sends shivers down my spine.
Telling you, London's smaller than I think. I didn't quite recognize her because she's acting so differently now.
It must be very difficult for you as a lawyer. Being hard of hearing, I mean.
Yes. That's why we shout objection so loud. Pardon?
Oh dear, I'm so sorry. Don't worry if you can't hear. It was frippery, really. Nothing more.
Now look what you've started, Mr. Sholmes. Thank you very much. I believe it would be prudent for you to sit quietly in the corner. Yes, I heard that one. Okay, Mr. Vigil. Daily Vigil. Tell us about your husband, madam.
Mr. Vigil, my Daly, is 40 years of age. I have a photograph here.
Okay. An entirely unremarkable gentleman. By appearance, at least. Nice. How long have you been married?
It'll be 15 years this year. We have a cordial relationship, and my husband's income is more than adequate, so we live quite comfortably.
As it would appear. I need only look at you to know these things.
Oh gosh.
Your dress is the latest style, your hat clearly regularly groomed, and your eyes are animated. In short, you have no inkling as to why your husband might have disappeared, correct?
That's right. He's a kind man with a strong sense of loyalty, and he rather dotes on me.
Which would point to the possibility
that he has become embroiled in some incident or other.
Oh, that is exactly what I fear must have happened, Mr. Sholmes. I'm quite beside myself. My husband's employment is somewhat unusual, you see. What if he's incurred some miscreant's ill will?
What exactly is your husband's line of work?
He's a warder at the prison.
A guard? That is somewhat unusual. Okay, prison warder. Explain.
So, your husband is a prison warder.
That's right, yes. Not a warden, but a warder. Well, in fact, he's the chief warder.
Indeed. I see. Well, chief prison warder certainly qualifies as something of a specialist occupation.
Yes, it does indeed. My poor husband must prepare those dreadful punishments and see that they're carried out.
Dreadful punishments. Does she mean capital punishments?
And at such times he must occasionally spend a night or two in the prison dormitory. But for that extra responsibility he is remunerated more handsomely than the other warders. Of course, we make no mention of my husband's work to the neighbours.
Yes, I believe your prudence is justified. Tell me, at what prison is your husband engaged?
Berkeley Prison, Mr. Sholmes.
Aha. Really? Berkeley? Oh, a fine establishment. If I'm not mistaken, there's a large cemetery just behind it. I'm starting to see the connection.
Yes, that's correct. Lowgate Cemetery.
No! Fuck off. You're kidding me. No. Lowgate Cemetery. The very place we were discussing in court. That's unbelievable. Does he know what happened 10 years ago? Unbelievable, my dear fellow. And yet, undeniable. Who writes this stuff?
Sorry, Mr. Sholmes, I'm afraid you've lost me.
Ah, pay no heed, madam. Pay no heed. A private matter.
This can't really be a coincidence, can it? Don't tell me Cosmo's going around killing prison warders. Your husband's disappearance.
So, to the matter of your husband's disappearance. When did you realize he was missing?
Please try not to laugh. It was yesterday.
I'm sorry? Yesterday.
It really is recent. Laughably so.
The truth is, my husband does at times have occasion to spend the night away for his work. It's not at all out of the ordinary for him not to return home at night. But this is different. For him not to make any contact for a whole day. That has certainly never happened before. Oh, my dear Daly, whatever can have happened?
My dear Mrs. Vigil, please, calm yourself. Now then, have you contacted the police?
Quite naturally, but sadly, they refuse to listen to my pleas as my husband has only been missing for one day. I was asked to wait patiently at home.
In truth, Mrs. Vigil, I concur with the police. However, let us not be hasty. I have rent to pay. I see no reason why we should not engage my deductive powers to track your husband down anyway.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Sholmes.
And furthermore, let me assure you, a chance to solve the greatest problem known to man for another month has no bearing on my decision. I seek only to put a sweet smile on another Londoner's face. That's really all there is to it.
You have my eternal gratitude. I shall pay any sum you care to mention.
£1,000. You seek only to put this sweet's rent in your landlady's purse. That's all there is to it. Come on, Ryunosuke. He needs the money, and this is where we stay, so it's in our best interests to take this case anyway.
Yep. We gotta put food on the table, and tea in our cups.
Thank you for everything you have shared with us, Mrs. Vigil. I believe I have all the information I need to begin my investigation.
Please report to me soon with good news, sir.
Fear not, madam. This hard-of-hearing lawyer will put his ear to the ground, which is pretty ironic, but alas, that's how it goes. In a day or two, I shall be contacting you with a heartening report, I'm quite sure.
So soon? Oh, how splendid, Mr. Sholmes.
Good news should be delivered early, I always say. If you would be so kind as to leave the photograph of your husband in my possession.
Photograph of Mr. Vigil has been entered into the court record. Photograph of Mr. Vigil, photographic print received from Mrs. Vigil. In order to aid with locating her missing husband. He appears to have no particularly distinctive facial features. Pretty common guy.
Thank you. Now allow me to show you the door.
First, well, while you do that, let's take a look at this photo. I suppose that's the cemetery in the background. Nothing much to this guy, I'm afraid. Or the photos. Or the background, I should say, in the photo.
I can't thank you enough, Mr. Sholmes. You've been simply marvelous.
Adios.
You know, I think it every time, Hurley. But how do you come out with such nonsense? Good news in a day or two? Are you sure?
I can't be sure, of course, but then I didn't swear on it. I merely gave the good woman some hope. I hoped to be able to give her good news, one might say. After all, the rent must be paid by the end of the day tomorrow. If by that time I've successfully located Mr. Vigil, we shall be mutually relieved. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo?
Don't look at me with those pleading eyes.
Well, my dear fellow, did you hear the details of the case?
Yes. My hearing is surprisingly good, actually.
Excellent. And what did you make of it?
Well, I was surprised to learn where her husband worked. At Barclay Prison, I mean.
Ah, so you noted that.
Hard not to.
Of course, especially with the mention of Lowgate Cemetery.
Oh yes. Lowgate Cemetery is at the rear of Barclay Prison, so it was renowned among us students at the university for being haunted by the ghosts of condemned convicts.
Barclay Prison is where that notorious man was incarcerated. The professor.
And now a warder from the prison has mysteriously disappeared, it would seem.
It's all very peculiar.
Indeed. But nothing you can't handle, I'm quite certain, Mr. Naruhodo.
Sorry.
Run along to the prison and see what you can glean. Would you? It's the prison governor you want. No doubt the man is equally worried.
But aren't you going to go yourself?
Surely you needn't ask. I can't possibly be seen out with this hair.
You have a hat.
Great.
But didn't you go to Lime Street with that hair?
That was a quite different matter. So I leave it in your capable hands. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm rather busy.
Okay, bye. Where are you going? Of course you are. Well, let's shuffle along. New location's been added. Prison Governor's Office. The office of the Governor of Barclay Prison, which stands behind Lowgate Cemetery. She's rather excited to go, Susato is. Barclay Prison is on the outskirts of London, backing onto a lonely burial ground. Its four high outer walls loomed quietly before us in the fog. Having requested a meeting, we were shown to the governor's office and the watchtower. What a charming clock that is. God. 1st November, Barclay Prison, Governor's Office. Holy shit.
This place is full of hardened criminals. I can nae remember the last time a civilian was down here.
And you dinna want to talk to an inmate, but to me? Do you ken who I am? I'm the governor. Barry Caden. Barry Caden. Jesus. Oh, yes, it's a pleasure. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, defense lawyer. Got a problem with Nipponese men? Especially because one of them was a notorious killer, apparently.
And an Easterner, I see.
Does that mean? Yes, I'm a visiting student of law from the Empire of Japan.
Japan? Did you say Japan?
Yes?
Well, there's no any kind of your kind in here, laddie. Maybe you should try the prison next door, eh?
I didn't notice another prison next door, sir.
He's talking about the cemetery. Susato. Anyway, we came to ask you some questions about...
I didn't like to be so direct, but... I've no intention of speaking with the likes of you suspicious-looking Easterners. Now get out my hair!
So as soon as he finds out that we're from Japan, he reacts like this. That surely means...
I think it's because of the professor case.
Yeah. You think so too? Shit, might as well stick my head right there into your grandfather clock. 10 years ago, Ryunosuke, also known as the Professor, was incarcerated at this prison. And then after his execution, he apparently re-emerged from his grave in the cemetery behind the prison.
I might have known. You're sniffing around about that case, aren't you? Your agents, eh? Part of the Professor's great web, no doubt.
No, not at all. We're just...
Get on with you, before I punch your lights out.
We're going! Clearly the ghost of that killer still haunts this place. You're lucky I don't let Susato take you down, sir. We're not going to get anywhere here. Unless we can somehow prove to this man that there's nothing suspicious about us.
Governor Caden,
What are you thinking, Miss Susato?
I feel sure that name came up in conversation recently somewhere. I was wondering if whoever mentioned him might have some ideas to help us.
Come to think of it, I have the same feeling. Right, well,
I said get out!
alright, moving out of here. I guess we're going back to the Great Waterloo Hotel. Oh, well looky there. Professor Mikatoba? You know, that's last week's paper. I can see the same articles that we were looking at before. That's Professor Mikatoba over there.
Hello, you two. I was just taking a moment to catch up on the world now that I'm unpacked.
But where's Judge Jigoku?
Yes, he's not the relaxing sort. He's taken himself off to pay his respects to all the legal bigwigs.
having only just arrived in the country today, goodness, he's full of energy.
Well, we did defend the case on our first day here, didn't we? Professor, you mentioned something before about how you'd known the prison governor at Barclay Prison?
Oh, Governor Caden, you mean?
So it is the same man.
Father, we must speak with the governor. But he refused to talk to us. He said we were suspicious Easterners.
Well, I'm sure if I accompanied you, it would be a very different story.
Oh, would you? That would be wonderful. If you have time now.
Sadly, as you can see, I'm very busy at the moment.
Busy drinking coffee on a comfortable settee?
Now, I have a rather lot to prepare for tomorrow, you know.
Oh, sorry. I didn't say that out loud, did I? You Mikatobas are alarmingly good at reading people's thoughts.
Or could it be that you Naruhodos are alarmingly bad at hiding your thoughts?
Probably the latter. Let's not fall out now. I have an idea. Oh, okay, yeah, he's surely going to buy this letter of recommendation. What's he writing on that piece of paper?
Here's a letter of introduction for you. Hopefully when he sees my name, he'll change his tune.
Thank you.
The letter of introduction has been entered into the court record. A note of introduction on our behalf from Professor Mikatoba to Governor Caden.
Hopefully now he'll be willing to talk to us.
Good luck then.
Let's take a look at it. I can't read what it says.
Professor Mikatoba has wonderful handwriting, doesn't he?
This dark-suited young man is not in the least bit untrustworthy. Is it just me, or does that make me sound extremely untrustworthy?
I do wish he'd at least called you a nice young man.
I'm really not sure that would help. Okay, well, I guess it'll have to do. It's on the back of Blackbird Line.
Oh, it looks like this is some sort of steamship ticket. The SS Grouse, first class cabin, 001. Yokohama departure 11 September, London arrival 1st November.
Ah, that's the boat that Professor Mikatoba and Judge Jigoku came on from Japan, isn't it?
Yes, I think it's called at Dunkirk on the north coast of France for a night before finally arriving in Dover.
I think it's almost been a year since we arrived in Dover on the SS Buria. It seems a shame not to keep your ticket as a memento of your trip, don't you think?
Yes, I agree. I have mine safely in my diary.
And I keep mine in my wallet, so I have it with me at all times. Oh, well, how strange. Where could it have gone?
Are you like this on purpose, Mr. Naruhodo?
Did I imagine it? Or was that comment accompanied by a little sigh? Oh, it's been updated. It's written on the back of a ticket for passage on a steamship. Interesting that that gets updated. Okay, I wonder what we're going to use that for. Okay, well, enjoy your coffee, sir. we're gonna get a move on. No time to lose. There's a man missing. First 48 hours and all that, you know? Presents the letter of introduction. If you just cast your eyes over this, Governor Caden. What's this then? You can't pull the wool over my eyes, you good-for-nothing Japanese student. Mikatoba. That young jock from the forensics laboratory. That Mikatoba. Yes, exactly him.
Oh dear, perhaps I should have said something sooner. I'm Yujin Mikatoba's daughter, Susato.
Jinx, you're the young man's daughter? And you didn't think to mention that before?
I do apologise.
Aye, well, you'd best take a seat then. Can I offer you a cup of tea, perhaps? And did I forget to try one of these wee handcuff biscuits? Handcuff biscuits? Gladly. Your father's influence is nothing short of amazing.
I'm bitterly regretting not announcing who I was from the outset now.
It's okay. So then, what can I do for you, eh?
Well, we're currently investigating a case.
It's one of your warders, you see. He's gone missing. Missing?
That's right. It's surely been reported to you as well, being the prison governor.
Made me put down my handcuff biscuit. Haven't I heard anything of the sort? There's no missing persons in my prison.
Oh,
But how can that be? So where is he then?
it's Mr. Daily Vigil, your chief warder.
Eh? Vigil? That's right. His wife came to us and asked us to investigate his disappearance. Let's skip the part about him only going missing yesterday for now. What's that all about, sir? Clearly that means something to him.
Would you be so kind as to tell us what you know, sir?
Aye, of course. Alright, let's go. Chief Warder Vigil. We understand that Mr. Vigil is the chief warder here at the prison. Aye, that he was. Strong sense of responsibility. Dedicated to the job. No doubt about it. He was a fine warder. Sorry, did you say was? Aye. He doesn't know work here anymore. He left the job.
Oh my.
When was this exactly? There's a question. When was it about? Can I have been much less than 10 years ago now? What? Holy shit.
What? 10 years ago? You stopped working here 10 years ago?
Aye, so I mind it. You haven't I heard this fella's name in all that time? That's a worry if he's gone missing though. But Mrs. Vigil made no mention of it.
I think perhaps, Mr. Naruhodo, that his wife simply doesn't know. I think she's unaware that he no longer works here.
Governor Caden, can you tell us what happened? Why did Mr. Vigil give up his job here? That's important, is it? Yes, I believe it may be.
What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo?
I can't help wondering, given that it was 10 years ago. Which was exactly when the professor was being held at this prison. 10 years ago, please enlighten me! This is the juicy stuff.
So Mr. Vigil actually resigned from the position of chief warder 10 years ago, you're telling us?
Or did you fire him?
What happened to make him leave the job?
In actual fact, he didn't leave the job willingly. He had no choice in the matter.
You mean he was dismissed?
It was after a particular walk.
Sorry, a walk?
Aye, that's our word for it in there. A walk to the gallows, Green Mile and all that jazz.
An execution.
It's the job of the chief warder to prepare the gallows tree, overseeing executions, you see. Only Vigil did something unthinkable on that last walk he was manning.
What did he do?
He fucked it all up. I'm sorry, but can I reveal that information? I can tell you, it's very rare for a chief warder to be relieved of his post.
But why wouldn't Mrs. Vigil know about it? She appears to be under the impression that her husband still works here.
I wouldn't make anything about that, I'm afraid.
Can you perhaps answer one more question about the circumstances of his dismissal?
And what will that be, then?
That last execution that Mr. Vigil was responsible for overseeing. Was it by any chance the professor's?
My thoughts exactly. Well, I'm sorry, I really am. But I'm no liberty to answer that.
I see. Okay, well, I think that means yes. Professor Mikatoba. My father came to Britain all those years ago in order to study forensic medicine. But you seem to have been well acquainted.
The dead room, the prison, and the cemetery all have a lot to do with one another. After all, they need fresh corpses for forensic research. You can?
Yes, I can imagine. The advancement of medical science isn't always particularly palatable.
Your father worked at the laboratory just on the far side of the graveyard, in the basement of St. Sinners. Still in use today.
St. Sinners? That's come up before, I'm sure. Yes, that's right. We've been there.
Mikatoba and I have to use to ride in the carriage together and negotiate terms.
More fresh material, I suppose.
Aye, we used to sit in there for hours and gab on about dissection and all sorts. Oof, takes me back. A report of tea and a plate of cough biscuits, of course.
How charming.
Very. He was a good fella, your father. Reliable. Dead set on his work. Was again. But I'm afraid I'll never understand you Japanese.
Because of Genshin Asogi, I suppose.
Jeez, you make it sound like we're all killers because of one guy. I'm sure there's plenty of British serial killers on display at Madame Tuspel's horror display. Well, can I tell you anything else?
Thank you so much for your time, Governor.
One moment I'll fool you away then. I'm sure I have it here somewhere. Found it. Here, take this as a wee souvenir of your visit to the prison.
What is it?
That's Vigil's dismissal notice. It's 10 years old now, of course.
Oh my, are you sure?
I only need to keep employee records for 7 years. Hey, it's no trouble at all. It's not the original mind.
Vigil's dismissal notice has been entered into the court record. The harsh reprimand incurred by Mr. Vigil 10 years ago that resulted in him losing his job as chief warder of Barclay Prison. Thank you very much, Governor Caden.
Well, in return,
hang on, hold that thought. There's a dismissal 25th of June. Chief Warder Daily Vigil is relieved of his post with immediate effect for having violated Clause 132 of Her Majesty's Code of Conduct for Prisons. All rights to redundancy pay and other financial benefits are fully revoked. Wow. Reason for dismissal, aiding and abetting the escape from this prison of convicts. Sir, just prior to his execution. Details of this escape are still being investigated. Full cooperation with inquiries will be expected. Prison Governor Barry Caden. Additional notes, indications are that the jailbreak plot was conceived prior to the convict's incarceration. It's believed that the convict engaged in some form of negotiation with prison staff in order to secure assistance. Full disclosure of information regarding these negotiations will be demanded. Huh. Interesting. Okay, alright. I'm here for the ride. Let me buckle up. In return,
do me a favor and never come back here. That case is closed.
Okay. Well, this is the last time we'll be seeing this office.
Well, I think we ought to return to Baker Street for the time being.
Yes, I agree. We need to report back to Mr. Sholmes with what we found out about Mr. Vigil. But first, let's examine this place. What will he tell Mrs. Vigil, I wonder? Well, Governor Caden is gone. Oh, look, we have an opportunity here now while the governor is away.
Mr. Naruhodo, you could be in prison if you were caught.
It wouldn't be a far trip. That's a good point. Perhaps not then. What is the deal with this bird? I don't know. Okay, it looks like we can't examine anything at all. I guess we're ready to roll. Probably should have examined while he was here. Unfortunate. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Let's go back to Sholmes' suite. First November. Sholmes' suite. We're back! Hello, you two.
I thought you'd be back before long, so I baked some scones for us all.
So that's what the delicious smell is. Greetings, my dear fellows. What the hell, man? You don't need to look like ninja now. You've returned a good deal sooner than I was anticipating. Hello, Mr. Sholmes.
Hello, Mr. Sholmes.
Say nothing. Your thoughts are written all over your faces in any case. It turns out that it may have been advisable to test my hair color restoration tonic before application.
Oh my.
Pray, tell me, what of our warder friend? Have you garnered some new information? Yes. Something very surprising, in fact, though it's not a patch on your hair, to be honest.
It most certainly isn't, but still, we discovered that. Sholmes!
Oh.
Drop everything, Sholmes. This is more important.
Gina? You're right.
I can't Adam and Eve it.
What's up?
What's happened?
Clearly a very grave matter indeed. For Miss Lestrade made no mention of my hair whatsoever.
It's the boss.
What do you mean? Inspector Gregson?
The boss is... He's dead.
What? What?
They just found his body. Shot. With a pistol.
What? What? Actual?
But... Inspector Gregson, he was...
Murdered? I'll believe it when I see the freaking body.
No, not Gregsy.
Come in, my dear girl. Tell us the whole story. Seriously? Is this happening right now? The inspector's death. Are you serious, Gina? Inspector Gregson was... He was really shot? Shot and killed, not shot and injured.
I don't know much about what happened myself on yet. They're still there, investigating the scene.
Where did this take place?
A little rented room in a building full of flats on Fresno Street.
The outskirts of town. Nowhere near his home. He was perhaps investigating a case then.
The thing is, no one at the yard knows nothing about no case round there. Oh, how strange. The boss was... He was so good to me. I know I ain't up to much yet, but... One day, I was going to show him. I was going to show him that I'd become a proper detective. Oh, Ginny.
What the culprit? So, who did this? Do you have any idea who the culprit is?
They got him already.
Already? They've caught the shooter so soon? Don't tell me it's Daily Vigil.
A witness reported something was going on, and the boys got straight down there and took care of it. Who? What awful person did this? I still can't believe it myself. Gina? It was the Reaper.
What the hell is going on?
Wait a minute. You don't... What? They've arrested Lord Van Zeeks for it? This is not what I know. What?
That's right. That Reaper bloke's gone and shot the boss.
No. Lord Van Zeeks?
I expected him to be a defendant, but not like this. This is the equivalent of freaking gumshoe biting the bullet. What the heck?
Lord Van Zeeks. Are you quite sure, Miss Lestrade? It's Baroque Van Zeeks the police have arrested?
Is this some sort of ploy? Like, did he arrange? Like, is Gregson actually dead?
I saw him with my own eyes in the interview room at the yard. I don't believe it. But there were witnesses, and they're all saying it was him. So you mean there were actually multiple witnesses?
Okay, but come on, Lord Strongheart's gonna be the prosecutor, then he has to be.
They heard the gunshot, apparently. When our lot got to the scene, there was only the boss and that Reaper bloke in the room.
So? This happened to you, Gina, just in the last game. But there's no way Lord Van Zeeks would have taken Gregson's life. Gregson wasn't a defendant at all. Why would... What? I just don't believe it. I mean, I know Van Zeeks didn't do it. I'm just in shock as to what's just played out off screen.
I don't believe it either.
Poor Gina, man. Honestly, she's beside herself. Thank you for informing us, Mrs. Strahd. Sholmes is like the only calm one here. It's scary, but, you know, it's necessary. This really is most terrible news. I'm dreadfully sorry.
What are you saying sorry for? You didn't do nothing. Well, anyway, I'm taking a cab over to the scene right now. Please come and all, as soon as you can. You gotta help.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Where does Kazuma fit in all this? It's a detective's lot to appear wherever some sinister plot is unfolded. Little wonder we all look haggard. Sometimes these things are almost too much for the nerves. Mr. Sholmes. What use is there in being a great detective if I fail to see something like this coming, How could I let this happen to Gregson? To Gregson. Okay, there we go. Now he's losing it. He waited until Lestrade was gone, which is very human, actually. Mr. Naruhodo, I shall leave at once to begin my investigations. And you know, it's serious business because he doesn't care about the color of his hair. Of course, yes, we will too. It would be helpful if you could talk to Mr. Reaper and see what you can glean. I'm sure you were intending to do so anyway. Until later, then. Inspector Gregson, Ted, and Lord Van Zeek's arrested.
Reno, Susie, I've called you a hansom. It's waiting outside.
Thanks, Iris. Shall we, Mrs. Sato?
Yes.
Oh my god, the death flags were there for Gregson. He was going to retire in Paris. This whole time I was concerned about Mikatoba. But no, it was Gregson. It was... What? Moving now. Moving to... Can we go to the scene of the crime? Or do we need to go straight to the prison? I have to see this with my own eyes. 1st November, room on Fresno Street. What the hell? He's got a corkboard and everything. He was secretly investigating. No body? This really is an out-of-the-way part of London's. I doubt many people find their way down this back street. Okay, well, if there's no body, then what the heck, man? Did I get all in a kerfuffle for nothing? So this dust-ridden rented old room is where it happened, then.
So this is where poor Inspector Gregson lost his life.
Yes. And the police are already hard at work investigating, it seems. I don't see Mr. Sholmes anywhere, though. Perhaps his investigations have taken him elsewhere.
Oi! What do you think you're doing there? Every one of them drawers has got to be taken right out so you can look underneath and all. I want the space above this ceiling checked. And don't forget to look inside the chimney stack too. Blimey, are you lot never gone over our house looking for dough when the owners are out of town?
Gina's obviously got some unique investigative techniques she wants everyone to adopt.
Oh, so you've turned up at last. Mind you, I ain't been here long myself.
Hello again, Gina.
Sholmes has only just left. You're lucky you missed that. He went prancing around in there, pointing at stuff and flicking that of his and then just scuppered.
So couldn't make sense of any of that.
Oh, he's finished investigating with Riddy, you mean?
He did the dance without me?
Yeah. He didn't stop to say nothing to no one, not even me.
Gina, would you mind if we investigated too?
Listen, Odo. You're a lawyer, right?
Yes. Last I checked. Why?
Well, you're not thinking of trying to help that Reaper bloke, are you?
Oh! Poor Gina. She's never going to forget, is she? That trial will haunt her forever.
Gina, if you don't mind me saying, if Lord Van Zieks really is responsible for this crime, he will be duly and fairly judged in court. I suppose you're right, yeah. Go on then, Odo. Get investigating. I want to know the truth about what really happened here.
Thank you, Gina. Okay, well, now that we've had your permission, I actually only came here to see Gregson's body, and because I haven't seen it, I must remain skeptical. So, I'm going to move along now. Back to the prison. I want to talk with the Reaper. There he is! I'm surprised you didn't just slam your leg on the table back there. 1st November, local prison, cell 1. There he is. Lord Van Zieks behind bars.
So it's true. He really was arrested.
He's sitting with his back to the wall, reading something. I don't think he's noticed us. Lord Van Zieks? Fancy meeting you here. The last place on Earth I'd like to be, with the last person on Earth I'd like to see. Well, there for the gentleman. I couldn't very well not come. We heard what happened. That Inspector Gregson was. Go home. This has nothing to do with you.
But... Forgive me, Lord Van Zieks, but I must disagree. Pray forgive the discourtesy. Inspector Gregson was very helpful to us on a number of occasions. We're indebted to him. At the very least, we owe it to him to find out the truth about his death. He must help us with our investigations, please!
There's really nothing I can tell you. What were you just reading at the back of the cell there? Was it something related to the case? This? The Yard isn't quite so cavalier with its information as to share case details with the suspect. This is a letter from an old acquaintance.
Oh, who might that be?
Someone you know, as it happens. Albert Hairbrain. Of course, yes. I keep forgetting they went to the same university. And I would like to read my correspondence in peace. So let's get this over with, shall we? What is it you want to know? Everything. Strange. I mean, let's face it, Lord Van Zieks never minces his words. But they seem to have less bite than usual somehow. Converse. There's always a prosecutor that ends up like a defendant, huh? What happened? Can you at least tell us your side of the story, Lord Van Zieks? What happened? How much do you already know?
We know that the inspector was shot dead in a small rented room on Fresno Street.
And that you were found there by police when they arrived on the scene and immediately arrested.
We were told that there was nobody else in the room and that some witnesses heard the gunshot.
They were all speaking fast. Then you're well informed. And there's really nothing I can add. The truth is, I don't know what happened myself. But the gunshot, obviously you didn't fire the gun, did you?
I'm not in the habit of shooting the people I work alongside. I also heard the noise, however. Before I had a chance to investigate, I was apprehended by the arriving officers.
So he doesn't actually know what happened.
If I might ask, what were you doing in that place to begin with?
I don't need to answer that.
Oh,
After all, you're not representing me.
He is going to need a lawyer, though. You can probably afford a pretty fine lawyer. That's not me. Your defense. Who's going to be representing you in court, Lord Van Zieks?
Anyone other than you, I should imagine.
would I be right in assuming that you have no representation as yet?
Well, what about Ryotaro, Naruhodo?
Defense lawyers shy away from any trial involving the Reaper, as I'm sure you know.
But this is different.
In my career, of all the defendants I've prosecuted, only 19 have ever been acquitted. Of them, 16 subsequently died in mysterious circumstances. Questions will be asked now.
Surely not.
16! Jesus.
I assure you no defense lawyer will want to touch me with the end of a barge pole.
But you didn't actually have anything to do with those people's deaths. Did you?
If you have to ask, then no. It's been 10 years now that I've been known as the Reaper of the Bailey. Believe me, nobody wants to know the true identity of this killer more than I. However, it seems things may come to a head before I have the chance to uncover the truth about that.
Is it Lord Strongheart? Is he pulling the string? Is the professor still alive and just killing people that are acquitted by the Reaper? That'd be a... And so you could pass on this whole legend of the Reaper of the Bailey and whatnot? What does he mean by that? Alright, Professor Hairbrain's letter. Let me be nosy for a second here. Your private correspondence. After the trial, Professor Hairbrain was supposed to go straight back to Germany, I thought.
It's a letter to inform me of his safe arrival at home. I arranged his passage by sea and rail. It's a relief, I must say, that he didn't get final destination. He should now be beyond the reaches of the Reaper.
Because the Reaper doesn't follow people abroad, you mean?
Yeah, Lord Strongheart can't afford all those tickets and vacation time off his job, I suppose.
Yes, so it seems. Your stooped little Nipponese friend, for example. You told me he was keeping well in Japan when I inquired the other day.
Yes, that's right. He's an author now, happily working in Tokyo.
So Professor Hairbrain is safely back in Germany now.
He is.
Good to know.
So, it appears our conversation has run dry.
Oh, hey, there was a 2-second silence, that's all. I can still present my armband if you want.
Well, in any event, if you'll excuse me now, I wouldn't like to detain you.
I was wondering, Lord Van Zieks, if you'd like, I'd be happy to advocate for you.
You trust me, do you?
Yes. I've heard you speak many times in court. I've seen how you treat people. So I'm quite sure that you would never have taken another's life. It's just... my feelings can't be used as evidence in a court of law, sadly. Even though I could testify.
It's a very gracious offer. However, I trust no one.
Gotta play his theme. Gotta play his goddamn theme.
What? Not the police, not the judiciary, and not you, Nipponese.
But please.
I have no intention of engaging your services.
Are you gonna defend yourself? The chasm between us is just too wide and too deep, it seems.
I'd appreciate it if you don't visit again. Then neither of us will waste any more time.
Damn it, stop putting up barriers! Perhaps we need to dig a little deeper and find out more about Lord Van Zieks' Van Zieks and what happened to Inspector Gregson. I mean, we don't even have a photographic print of Gregson's body. Maybe then I'll believe it. But if Kazuma can come back to life, shit. Who knows what happened with Gregson? Surely not.